Friendly reminder that Black Lives Matter and the police must disarm. Content like this matters very little in peaceful times and even less so right now, so take this video as you will. In otherwise uplifting news, Major's second return this week. We left off with our heroes at Fooding beginning their preseason tournament with only 9 players, 6 of whom are girls. Our opposing team only realizes this fact when they take the field, and they look down upon their opponents because of this. Fooding responds by scoring 3 runs in the top of the inning and snapping everyone into a competitive mode. The most striking thing about watching Major after watching 5 weeks of just Tamayomi is how incredible the animation looks by comparison. Major shows everything it can related to the baseball action and makes all the movements crisp and colorful and fun. There's an especially cool shot where the camera takes the position it would take if the game were on a televised broadcast, which isn't an especially complicated shot to pull off, but one that I haven't really seen in an anime before. Sakura struggles a bit on the mound to start the game, and she gives up a run before recording an out. Anita calls for time and forcefully tells her to get into shape without asking if there is a problem, while the rest of her infield tells both her and Anita to relax. Daigo then runs in from left field and informs Sakura that the height of the mound is affecting her pitching, and that she should dig a few inches down in front of the rubber to get her to the level she's used to. This not only fixes Sakura's mechanics, but calms the voices in her head telling her that she was the problem, not her environment. She then forces an inning-ending double play, defending her team's lead after the first inning. Daigo once again demonstrates his high baseball IQ and leadership abilities, though a convenient flashback shows how he thinks of mound height only after his dad points it out as an example of something small that might greatly affect a pitcher. What's going to come into play is how much he will tolerate coaching from left field instead of from behind the plate, as he quietly granted the position to Anita without much of a fight a couple episodes back. But this also falls on Anita, who fails in her first attempt to calm her pitcher, as she'll have to prove with her production that she deserves the most important defensive role over Daigo. Major's second came back this week just as good as it left, and I'm really excited to see how the story unfolds over the end of the spring season and throughout the summer. This hopefully will be a 2-course season like every other season of Major, but I do not know how the COVID break affected their timing and if it will be able to broadcast past its expected schedule. But whatever the case, I'm looking forward to more Major. Tamayomi, on the other hand, I'm ready to finish. What was unfortunate for Tamayomi is that this week's episode is probably the show's best of the season so far, or at least it was the one that presented the best baseball scenes. All of the strategies make sense, the tension is palpable, and our girls see their first real test even at the peak of their powers. Unfortunately, the animation looks so bad in comparison to Major that praising the show for any reason feels inconsequential. Our girls begin their second round game against Ryoken by scraping 1 run off their backup pitcher in the top of the first. Yomi then takes the mound, and despite pitching her best stuff, gives up 1 run herself, tying the game heading into the second. Our girls all acknowledge that they're doing their best against opponents that aren't at full strength, and that it's going to take somewhat of a miracle to win. There's a decent Tamaki moment with her former teammates, as well as some real fear from Yoshino as a play caller, but there isn't anything this episode does in its climax that Major Second doesn't do better. Which is too bad, because it seems that a lot of thought was put into the show's final arc and that it had a chance to save the show. But no amount of good the show can put in its final 2 episodes can salvage what has already been presented. There are only 2 more episodes left for Tamayomi, and anywhere between 7 and 20 left for Major this season. It's kinda hard to tell. I will for sure finish off the spring cast as Tamayomi finishes, and I might consider spinning off a Major specific weekly review if my interest in the show holds. But what's most important for now is understanding that the president is a fascist and must leave office immediately.